Maya worked as a highly paid project manager on a FIFO roster out in the scorching iron ore mines of Western Australia, spending 2 weeks in the dusty Pilbara and 1 week home in Perth. Maya grew up in a tiny, tight-knit mining town where life revolved entirely around hard yucca and the red dirt that permanently stained your skin. From a very young age, she watched her parents give everything they had to the mines just to secure a decent future for her. Her mother always told her that true success only comes to those who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and do an honest day's work. Those words took deep root in the young girl's mind, forging her incredibly resilient, classic Aussie character. When Maya turned 18, her father fell seriously ill and could no longer provide for their family. Without a second thought, the young woman took on the responsibility for her loved ones and went straight into the grueling mining sector. She battled her way up from the very bottom, overcoming unbearable exhaustion and prejudice to become a highly respected leader on site. Years of exhausting FIFO swings taught her to deeply appreciate every single minute spent in the safety and quiet of her own space. To Maya, her beautiful home in Perth wasn't just a piece of real estate, it was a sacred sanctuary, her personal reward for years of sacrifice. Deep down, this incredibly strong woman always desperately dreamed of simple family warmth and unconditional support. When she met Liam, he seemed like the creative, sensitive soul who could perfectly balance out her rigid, demanding work life. Maya genuinely fell in love with him, deciding that her financial stability was more than enough to build their own cozy little world. She wanted to be a solid rock for him, allowing her husband to calmly find his true calling without the crushing fear of unpaid bills. She firmly believed that in a real marriage there is no room for selfishness, only absolute, genuine teamwork. Even as the years rolled by and Liam's supposed photography career never got off the ground, she continued to turn a blind eye to his laziness. Her loving heart always found the most noble excuses for the man she considered to be her true family. Maya was convinced that her backbreaking work in the desert was simply a necessary contribution to their bright shared future. She was willing to fly out into the scorching outback time and time again, just to come back to a home filled with love and comfort. This deep, almost maternal affection made her completely defenseless against his true, hidden motives. She gave everything she had, her youth, her health, and her energy, just to maintain this beautiful illusion of a happy home. In her straightforward, honest view of the world, it simply didn't compute that someone could so cynically exploit another person's generosity. Maya always went out of her way to protect the vulnerable because she remembered all too well how hard it is to face disaster alone. It was exactly this innate, pure compassion that played the cruelest trick on her. She had no idea that her open soul would become the perfect target for a cold-blooded betrayal. This boundless faith in the decency of the people closest to her was about to cost her dearly. She fully financially supported her husband, Liam, who called himself a freelance photographer, but was essentially a professional bludger, sitting at home all day gaming and not contributing a single cent to the household. Recently, Maya had invested a solid chunk of her savings into building a luxury granny flat in their spacious backyard, planning to rent it out for some extra passive income. However, right before her latest swing, Liam pitifully begged her to let his sister's mate stay there, claiming she was in a desperate situation pregnant and fleeing a toxic ex-boyfriend. Having a kind and empathetic heart, Maya agreed to let her use the granny flat absolutely rent-free for a couple of months before flying off to her exhausting mining roster with total peace of mind. The morning before flying out for her swing, Maya stood in the hallway, packing her heavy duffel bag. "Are you sure having a stranger in the backyard won't distract you from your creative work?" she asked with warm concern, hugging her husband goodbye. "Don't worry, Darl. I'll just hand her the keys and try to stay completely out of her way," Liam replied with the most innocent smile imaginable. "The poor girl has been through enough. Let her live in the granny flat in total peace for as long as she needs," he added, gently kissing his wife on the cheek. "You're so incredibly thoughtful. Thank you for supporting people when they need it most," Maya said, genuinely touched and proud of his supposedly noble heart. "Stay safe out there on the mines and come home soon. I'm going to miss you like crazy," her husband cooed, walking her out to the waiting Uber. Midweek, after returning to her donga, following a brutal 12-hour shift under the blazing sun, she decided to give him a ring. "Hey, my love, how are your quiet days at home going?" Maya asked, struggling to hold back a yawn from pure, bone-deep exhaustion. "I've barely left my computer screen, editing a massive new project. I'm absolutely wrecked," Liam lied in a pathetic, tired voice. "And how's our new tenant doing? Does she need anything?" Maya asked kindly, genuinely sympathizing with the girl's fake plight. "She's quiet as a mouse. I haven't even seen her since yesterday," he stated quickly and confidently. "All right, you go get some rest. I'm going to hit the sack too," Liam said, hastily wrapping up the short call. On the 5th day of her swing, Maya logged into their smart home solar app to check the panel efficiency and the utility usage. She was absolutely baffled to see a colossal spike in electricity and hot water consumption coming specifically from the granny flat, which seemed highly unusual for one modest, terrified girl. The graphs on her smartphone screen showed that the reverse cycle aircon and appliances were running at maximum capacity around the clock. A worrying thought crossed her mind that the poor girl might have fallen ill all alone out there. Wanting to make sure everything was okay, Maya opened the outdoor security camera app that pointed directly at the backyard. When the live feed loaded, instead of a helpless victim, she saw her husband Liam smiling as he carried bags of expensive groceries onto the deck of the granny flat, where the pregnant girl was waiting for him. The camera's built-in microphone was active, and Maya clearly heard every single word they said echoing through the silence of her desert donga. "I bought everything you asked for the baby, sunshine," Liam said happily, dropping the bags on the outdoor table. "You're an absolute legend." "Did your naive wife suspect anything?" the girl asked with a laugh, sipping juice from a glass. "She's stuck out in the dirt for another whole week, so this entire house is all ours," he replied smugly. "I'm so glad we don't have to pay rent. This place is just perfect for our little family," the mistress purred, pressing herself against him. "I promised I'd set everything up perfectly while she pays our bills, didn't I?" Liam laughed, putting his true, repulsive nature on full display. Liam tenderly wrapped his arm around her waist, rubbed her growing baby bump, and passionately kissed her on the lips, instantly and completely obliterating his wife's perfect world in a single second. Maya sat on her narrow camp bed, feeling like the air in the room had suddenly become too thick to breathe. Her hands shook violently as she watched those two laughing on her very own deck, built with the money from her sleepless nights. Years of backbreaking labor, her absolute devotion, and her holy faith in their marriage had just been used as a convenient tool to build a comfortable life for someone else's family. Hearing herself mocked so casually while she was literally out there funding their lifestyle was unbearably agonizing. But that monstrous, cynical dialogue instantly burned away any remaining shreds of pity she had, leaving behind nothing but an ice-cold, crystal-clear fury. Instead of having a hysterical meltdown and screaming at her husband over the phone right from the mining camp, Maya locked herself in her donga and took a deep, steadying breath. Her heart was hammering against her ribs so violently it felt like it was going to break through her chest. Her very first instinct was to smash her phone against the wall just to release some of this unbearable, gut-wrenching agony. 10 years of her selfless devotion had just been tossed in the trash as easily as if they meant absolutely nothing. She sat in that cramped portable cabin, surrounded by thousands of kilometers of lifeless red dirt, feeling completely and utterly crushed. While she was out here choking on iron ore dust and sleeping on a rock-hard mattress, her husband was playing happy families right in her own backyard. Hot, bitter tears of betrayal stung her eyes, but Maya aggressively wiped them away with the back of her hand. The brutal environment of the Western Australian outback had taught her long ago that crying doesn't fix problems. It only drains the energy you need to survive. Having remote desktop access to their shared home computer, she quickly dove into his browser history and hidden folders. Every keystroke felt like she was voluntarily pouring salt into a fresh, gaping wound. The glow of the laptop screen illuminated her pale, drawn face with a cold blue light. Her mind frantically connected the dates of his supposed depressive episodes and creative slumps with the dates these hidden orders were placed. There, Maya found dozens of digital receipts for baby clothes, premium prams, and wildly expensive nursery furniture, all paid for using her own credit card. The invoices for Italian cribs and designer maternity wear were plastered with amounts she had pulled extra night shifts to cover. He was blowing her hard-earned cash on a baby he was having with another woman, without a single thought for the blood and sweat it took to earn it. Every transaction felt like a direct spit in the face of her generous, trusting soul. Maya remembered skipping a much-needed massage after a brutal swing just to save a few extra bucks for their shared future. Now, that shared future was boldly unboxing luxury purchases on her own back deck. Worse still, she uncovered their sickening text exchanges, which made it crystal clear that the baby was indeed Liam's, and they were both laughing about how cleverly they'd moved his second family into the lawful wife's property while she was out in the dirt earning their keep. They discussed her FIFO roster so casually, as if she wasn't even a human being, just a free, highly reliable ATM. Liam actually texted his mistress saying that Maya would soon pay off the mortgage completely, and then they could figure out a way to take the house and leave her with nothing. This level of sheer hypocrisy and calculated malice wasn't just terrifying, it triggered a deep physical revulsion. Whatever love she once held for this weak, lying parasite evaporated without a trace, leaving nothing but scorched earth behind. The overwhelming pain was rapidly replaced by an ice-cold, razor-sharp, and absolutely destructive fury. Maya realized she wouldn't shed another tear over a bloke who never deserved an ounce of her respect to begin with. She straightened her back, feeling that same ironclad resilience of the little girl from the mining town waking up inside her. She wasn't going to be the victim in this story, and she absolutely refused to let them enjoy her hard work for a single day longer. Maya methodically backed up every electronic receipt, text message, and security camera recording to a secure cloud drive. She built a bulletproof legal dossier that was about to become her ultimate weapon in the impending war. Cold-bloodedly, Maya contacted a top-tier family lawyer in Perth, arranged an immediate eviction notice to remove the trespasser from her private property, and completely froze every single credit card. Her voice on the phone sounded so authoritative and dead level that the lawyer didn't ask a single unnecessary question, getting straight to work. She gave strict orders to freeze all joint accounts, leaving the cheating bludger with literally not a cent to his name. It gave her a dark, grim satisfaction knowing his card was going to decline the next time he tried to buy a coffee. Now, all she had to do was perfectly time her spectacular return home to deliver the final crushing blow. She was going to give them a finale that would permanently cure them of ever wanting to play with someone else's life again. Maya took emergency leave, flew back to Perth 2 days ahead of her scheduled swing, and headed straight for her property, accompanied by her lawyer and 2 burly police officers. The flight down felt agonizingly long, but the sheer anticipation of the looming payback fueled her every step. As she pulled up to her quiet suburban block, she could hear upbeat music and loud, cheerful laughter echoing from the back. They were celebrating the start of their new life with such arrogance, completely oblivious to the fact that the actual owner of the house had just returned. She marched into the backyard at the exact moment Liam and his pregnant mistress were hosting a cute little baby shower for their mates, right on her perfectly manicured lawn. Brightly coloured balloons were strung up everywhere, and the tables were loaded with expensive gifts and gourmet catering, all completely funded by the credit cards she had just cancelled the day before. Liam was grinning from ear to ear, tearing into a box of baby clothes while their guests clapped and cheered. The sudden appearance of the lawful wife, flanked by uniformed cops, hit the party like an absolute bomb. The music was abruptly cut off, and the silence that fell over the yard became so thick you could cut it with a knife. Seeing Maya, Liam physically stumbled backward, dropping a glass that shattered loudly against the stone pavers. Right in front of the stunned, speechless guests, Maya shoved the divorce papers into her ghostly pale husband's chest and handed the mistress an official, court-ordered eviction notice demanding she vacate the premises immediately. The lawyer calmly stepped forward and explained that they had exactly 30 minutes to pack their personal belongings under the strict supervision of the police officers. The mistress tried to feign outrage and throw a hysterical tantrum, but one stern, icy glare from the cop instantly shut her up. The party guests, many of whom had absolutely no idea Liam even had a legal wife, started whispering frantically in pure confusion and embarrassment. Maya loudly announced to the entire crowd that her deadbeat husband had secretly moved his pregnant mistress into her backyard, using her hard-earned FIFO money to build them a cozy little love nest. "I really hope you guys enjoyed the catering. It was paid for with my sleepless nights out on the iron ore mines," she added with ice-cold composure, staring down the paralyzed crowd. Upon hearing the filthy truth, the invited friends quickly and awkwardly scrambled for the exit, thoroughly disgusted and actively avoiding eye contact with the disgraced host. Liam, his voice trembling pathetically, begged Maya for a chance to talk in private, but she just turned away in pure disgust, treating him like absolute dirt. While the cops escorted the humiliated, disgraced couple out onto the street along with their guests, Maya reset all the passcodes on the smart locks, permanently shutting the door on their luxury free ride. The trader walked away with just a single cheap suitcase, having permanently lost his status, his comfort, and the one person who was willing to do absolutely anything for him. Maya watched them walk down the street with her head held high, feeling her home and her own soul finally being cleansed of their filth. She had reclaimed her space, proving once and for all that she would never allow her kindness to be mistaken for weakness. The sheer audacity of a bloke moving his secret family into his wife's own backyard is absolutely mind-blowing. How would you have reacted if you saw something that disgusting on your own home security cameras? Make sure you jump into the comments and let us know if you think Maya's ruthless revenge was perfectly justified. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel, because we've got plenty more jaw-dropping true stories coming your way.